Right, this is a video to help someone run a 941 baler. It's a classic baler, an old baler, so don't expect it to be super fast. It's just, you know, it's 30 years old probably. But you will have some little problems with it when you first get onto it, because it's not like normal balers these days where you just wait for everything to happen. When you bale with this baler, bale as normal, PTO on obviously, hay feeds in there. If you look up here, there is a little scale, and that is what you want to watch, that arrow. As the bale gets formed and it gets bigger and bigger, this little thing here moves up to where you want to make the bale. I've just got a little mark there because that's the same size as what is it, 4-foot bale I think it is. So when it hits there, you want to start to wrap. Now other people may do this different, but I've learnt it from experience with this thing, is that you want to have quite a full swath of hay, and you still want to be feeding hay in when you press the button on the control box. So like I said before, we hit the size you want to go for, slow down then, still baling, still hay going into the pickup, and then push the button, the switch. So you'll see this thing here either go in or out. Well, what's it like now? That'll come out when you'll hear it, the electrics, that little solenoid there will push this thing here up. So this thing here will rise up and it'll land on top of that, and then the thread on that will make that move out quietly back, and it'll fall back off to the position it's in now, and that'll cut the wrap. Now what I tend to do is, if you want to put a bit more wrap on, is lift that up with a solenoid and the wrap will start to go on, and you can leave that there as long as you want. So you want as much wrap on or as little as you want, and then bring the solenoid back on, back off, and this will go off the thread, this little thing, and it'll drop back down and it'll cut it then, ready for the next bale. But sometimes if you it'll take you a few feels to get used to it. You've got to keep your eye on this wrap here. When you slow down and you press the wrap, you start the wrapping process, keep your eye on this, because this will start to spin as the wrap goes on. And then if you look in here, you'll see the wrap going onto the bale, and you're okay. So as the wrap goes onto the bale, you'll press the switch the other way, and this will reverse, go back to where it is now, and you'll hear a bang, and this net wrap will stop, and the bale is ready to be opened and put out the back. Now what will happen sometimes is, when you go to put the wrap on, you will see this turning as if it's going onto the bale, but if you haven't seen it going onto the bale through here, it'll wrap around them rollers there. You know, can you see? Where that net comes down there, it'll wrap round that rubber roller. Well, that is if you haven't got no hay feeding in, you see. So you've got to have hay feeding in. It won't draw through properly. So knock the PTO straight off, untangle that mess there then that you'll have, and just pull the wrap and put it against the bale, and then put the PTO back on, and it'll wrap the bale then. But that's just, also if you can see in the corner here, there's little adjusters there, so you can adjust and play about with it to get it exactly how tight you want it, because you don't want it too tight, because when you get it too tight it tends to grab the net somehow. So you've just got to loosen it off to the point where it's not tight but it's still pulling the wrap through. So when it pulls it, it'll push it behind this into the bale, and then it'll just pull through it then. So that's what's happened sometimes, but it's a knack. There is a knack to this baler, and anyone who's bought one knows that. You will take you a few feels to get used to it. So as I said before, 540 revs, drive along, look at that bale size, start the wrapping process, but still moving as there's hay drawing in. You've got to have hay drawing in to pull the wrap through. Once you see the wrap going onto the bale, stop, and then you can continue to wrap the bale. Once you see this, you hear that goes back to where it is now, and you hear a bang, a bit of a clang it'll be. The wrap will be cut, you can loose the bale out. So that's it really, I can't think of anything else. Oh, if you have the net wrap to wrap around the little rollers I told you before, see this bar? Use the electric box on the solenoid without the PTO on to push this till it's onto there. I don't think I can lift it up now. No, I can't. This will end up on top of this. Then move the box the other way, so this is back down where it is now. And you can unroll the wrap that's got tangled. So then come round here and just pull it off there and put it back to where it is now. And your job's a good one, unless you'll have a job to get the wrap out. Can't think of anything else. I'll just make sure all these pieces here are moving very freely. They need a lot of oil, because if you had it in the shed for a while, it tends to go a bit dry, I suppose. But get plenty of penetrating oil and grease that up so it's really free moving, and you won't have a problem. And I've got the back doors open here now. That's all it is really inside. These chains continue turning when the bale has been made, and the bale, you'll have these chains and it'll push the bale out. But the top chains, when you've lifted it up to this point, stop moving, because one of the belts stops it moving. But there's a little bar at the back there. Can you see it? A spiral bar that comes down in the wrapping process and spreads the wrap out. Make sure that is oiled and greased and running really clean and springs back, unless you'll have problems wrapping with it. That is the main problem with this baler. It's just you make sure that little spiral bar there is springing down and up with not a massive amount of pressure. So, like I said before, make sure these points here are moving really free. So you just pull this up and it'll go spring back down. I can't show you now because I haven't got no electric box set up on this. I've just got it on a different tractor. But there we are. That's it, I think. What else happened? Oh, I'll tell you what happens sometimes. Sometimes the solenoid there doesn't work properly when you've just brought it out of the shed. And you think, oh, something's burnt out, but it hasn't burnt out. When that ram is working, it's got a little spiral thread inside it, and if you've left it for a while, the spiral that's in the thread gets stuck. So there's 4 little bolts here. Just undo them, and you can undo it by hand, and once it's freed up, it's fine, and it won't stop. It won't stick again. Just put loads of oil on it. So that's it. Only be careful with them whenever you're working with a baler, especially in here. Turn the PTO off. Do not get your arms in here where the PTO is going, as you will be minced into it. Okay, good luck.